Hello everyone and welcome to Video Games and Coffee. I'm your host Daniel, and today I would like to introduce part 3 of 3, the last part of my collaboration with Claire Weaver at the Days Gone podcast and Rob and Kelvin at Project Tech Gaming. Unfortunately, this is the last part. It was a very fun discussion. I hope everyone's enjoying listening to it, and thank you very much for making it this far if you have. And without further introduction, here it is. Yeah, I've thought about having one hardcore night where I record 2 episodes. So that way the next week I can have free to do whatever, and I can still release one the next week because I got 2 in the bag. But that's going to take a bit of... I went through a
phase where I did that. I actually had 4 episodes stacked up. I don't know how I managed to do it. I just did a bunch of interviews back to back. And
damn, that's a month for me.
Yeah. No, it was 4 weeks worth. And I didn't like it. I thought I was going to like it, but it bothered me that I couldn't record new episodes because I didn't want to get so far ahead of myself. And also I wanted to talk to people about the episodes I'd released. And I'd find myself saying like, oh yeah, in that episode when I talk about, oh wait, no, you haven't heard that one yet because it doesn't come out for another 3 weeks.
And also I feel like you forget or you lose, you might get a thought process that you're like down the road, you're like, oh man, I kind of want to talk about this, but you already recorded that. So you're like, you kind of have ideas that are already kind of start happening in your head. But then since you already recorded, it's like, it's kind of hard to put it into your podcast.
Yeah. And I also just started doing live streaming as well. I don't play the game. Actually, doing a collaboration with a YouTuber who does live stream playthroughs of Days Gone, and I'm kind of hijacking his stream and providing commentary and kind of doing all the fun stuff I do on the podcast, like talking about the world and the characters and the backstories and stuff like that. And I find myself bringing up, oh, in this episode of oh, wait, hang on, you guys can't hear it yet. That comes out next week. Mm-hmm. So I find it easier to stay more in sync and do 1 episode a week where I can. But sometimes it does help if you know you're going to be on vacation or something like that, and you want to make sure you maintain that schedule of releasing 1 a week. It does help to have some in the bag.
Yes, God, man. 4 episodes. I mean, all I can think. I stopped listening, and all in my head, I was like, 4 episodes would be awesome. Like, and you're like, I don't like it. I was like, I would love that. But you're also right, because then you kind of want to talk about what you're currently working on and that kind of stuff. But I don't know, man. It already takes me 2-3 hours just to do one in one night. Holy shit! I'll just have to take a day off work. Yeah, to do that. I will say they weren't all edited. Like, I'd done the interviews and I'd recorded them, and then I was editing them sort of weekly and getting them, kind of spit shined and ready to upload. But yeah, it's weird. It's hard to find the right rhythm for it. So here's a question. Do you guys like the editing? Because I didn't expect it, but I like editing more so than I thought I was going to.
It's in a sense therapeutic sometimes. It's weird. You get to like take, especially if I can speak for myself. I don't know about you, Kel, but when I'm editing audio, I can almost like delete the flaws. I'm like, oh, yes. It's like, oh, yeah.
It's a do-over. Yeah. It's a second chance.
Yep. That bit is great. I just don't like how much time it takes. And maybe I should be quicker with it, but it takes me a long time. It takes me a couple hours to do like a 45-minute episode. And it depends how much editing I'm doing. It depends on the guest and how in sync we are with the way we speak. Because if there's a lot of like talking over each other or we leave awkward pauses, it's like every 30 seconds I've got to edit a bit out, and then I re-listen to it to make sure my edit is okay, make sure there's no like weird snip sound. And so I get kind of frustrated with how long it takes, but I do like that you can edit out all of the awkwardness.
So for the audience, this is like the realest you will see us for sure, because this is not going to be edited at all. So you're going to hear all the ums. Exactly. Yeah.
I think we've all done really well. It doesn't feel like there've been any awkward silences. None of us have tripped up over our words too badly. I think I have a couple times, but
do you know why? Probably is because this is not our first rodeo. Imagine if this was like the first time ever we were talking on a mic and in a format like this. I'd be like, I don't know what to say.
That would be awesome. I would share that with everybody.
Let's fucking go.
Let's just cut that bit out right there and release it on the internet. It's like, look how much he fucked up saying the sentence. Completely out of context.
Make that the snippet. Make that the little audiogram that we promote. Is Rob going, and there's
Daniels that we can release.
Exactly. Oh, man.
So I'm looking at all our questions here. We've actually been through quite a bit of them. There's only a couple more here that we haven't covered, because even the discussion topics here, we did time management, solo and co-hosting, all this stuff.
I think there's only one left.
What are some things you can share that you have planned for your podcast in the future? This is a good one.
Ooh, you guys go first.
Rob?
What we have planned. This isn't. Can we tell them what we might be doing?
I mean, I think.
Well, now you've said that, you have to tell us.
All right.
we just have a couple things lined up that we think would be good. Again, we're changing things up as we go. I think we're not the same Project Tech Gaming as we were when we first started
a year ago.
Exactly. So we talked
now,
a lot
don't feel compelled to give away anything that you want to keep a secret and kind of surprise everybody with. So I guess we can switch the question up. It's like anything that you have planned that you like to share, or that you would like to do sometime in the future but not currently doing. Because I don't want you guys to give away anything that you're like, oh shit, I really wanted a way to surprise people with it. So
I think if you don't mind me going, Rob, but
it's fine.
For us, I think we're thinking about changing the logo a little bit, but with Project Tech Gaming, and I think we're probably starting to look into, similar to Daniel, how you have like your own website, right? Because we don't have our own website. That'd be something that we've wanted to do for a while. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. So I think that would be our next step into hopefully early next year, to start looking into that.
Yeah. Also, we had our first guest I think like 2 weeks ago.
I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago we had our first guest, and that's something that for our next year goal is we want to have multiple guests throughout the year. Like make that a regular thing, is having a guest. So networking a lot more, just like how we're doing right now. I think that's like the next biggest thing for us is branching out a little more.
Yeah.
Well, you guys killed on that episode. You guys did really, really well with the guest. That was awesome. It was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, this year was definitely a year to learn and kind of get out of our shell, right? Next year, I think, is going to be the one where we collaborate with a lot of people and just kind of focus on what really makes PTG like click for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, the collaboration is kind of the point at which my podcast started to come alive, and like having guests on. Like I mentioned, I started doing live streaming just a couple of weeks ago, so that's like a sort of totally different kind of collaboration. I've never done anything like that before, but it feels like it segs perfectly with the podcast. So really, I mean, what I've got planned in the future is just more of that, more collaboration, more guests. Obviously, I want more people from who are involved in the game on the podcast. I've had a couple of the actors on so far, and had an exclusive statement from the guy who played Boozer.
So
the goal.
Did you really?
The goal is to get Sam Witwer, who played Deacon St. John, obviously. And everyone keeps saying, when are you getting Sam on the podcast? When are you getting Sam on the podcast? That to me is kind of like the pinnacle. So I don't want to peak too soon. I want to make sure that I really build up to that. So that is like a long way down the line. But yeah, I'm trying to like reach out to like the Nathan Whitehead, the composer. I really would love to speak to him. I'd love to speak to some of the developers, John Garvin, who wrote the game, all the actors who were involved in it. And then just, people who did things that I don't even understand, like the people who design like the magnificent weather that's in the game and things like that. Like, I don't really know the sort of the programming, developing side of stuff of gaming, but I would love to talk to those people and find out kind of what they did and what that involves. Because I find it really fascinating. There's just so much I don't know about how you make a game. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to explore that and to expand my own knowledge and hopefully like share that with other people.
I think it'd be really interesting if you got the voice actors for the creepers, right? They're called creepers. Freakers. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just the way how they portray their voice into making those like the weird,
guttural,
crazy sound effects.
Yeah. There was one guy who did most of the effects, and he's like a metal singer from some European country. I think I don't remember exactly. I'd have to go back.
That doesn't surprise me.
But it's some metalhead who can do yes.
There you go.
And he just made a fuck ton of noises.
Nailed it.
And then I think there's also like the sound designer's dog was mixed in. So the sound designer actually would be an interesting person to bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel, anything you have up your sleeves you want to share?
Well, since I've only done 7 episodes, I think I can carry on the same format for just a little bit longer before trying to switch it up. I thought maybe I could release a normal episode a week and then maybe like a shorter one covering just something else, just to kind of give it some variety. I would love to have more guests on the show, whether it's other players of certain games I've covered, YouTubers, podcasters, developers of games that Claire, I think you asked me when we first started chatting, you said, who would be the people that you would love to talk to on the show? And it would be, Neil Druckmann, who's involved, heavily involved in everything Naughty Dog.
Right.
And again, a master storyteller. I would love to have Troy Baker.
Oh my goodness.
He is
such
a
awesome
legend.
guy, yeah.
A legend in video game voices and acting, and just seeing everything that he does on Instagram. He seems like a real down to earth personal guy, and somebody that you would really just like to talk to, just even not about games, just like anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I would even like to talk to people going to school for learning to develop games.
That'd be really good. That'd be a good entry point.
Is it is it what you thought it was going to be? Is it not? Who would you like to work for? Once you graduate, how do you get your foot in the door? That kind of stuff. So just to add a little more variety to the show, because I don't know how long somebody can listen to just me talking about fucking game.
I think it's great, man. Like I said before, just listening to you and just you're by yourself, and you have to. So for you in your head, you have to have this kind of like enjoyment, right, while you're talking about this game, so that people can see that you're enjoying talking about this game. And you're doing it by yourself, and I noticed that, like, you crack jokes like by yourself, like you're by yourself doing this. Yes. But it's like you make me chuckle too.
Yeah,
so it's like
just like.
But that's hard to do. That's so hard to do it when you're doing it by yourself. So like me and Rob, we do that kind of like we have each other to kind of back each other up. But you do it by yourself, and it's like, damn, that takes a lot of guts. So
I appreciate that. The jokes and everything that you see, the little moments of levity and all that in the episodes, that's not scripted. That's something that I think of.
Oh, for sure.
You could tell it's not scripted either. You could tell it's genuine. So.
Because because when I first started, I was like, I'm going to read off of this. I'm going to sound very professional. And then it took a couple of episodes for me to kind of loosen up a bit. I'll drop some F-bombs here and there. I'm like, you know what? This is just how I talk. This is how I want to express myself. And I found it to be a little more personable. But yeah, the jokes just kind of come to me being deliriously tired down here. Basically, the way you see me now, this is how I record right here.
It's the best way to do it. It's the best way to do it, man.
Yeah.
I actually have a request for you, Daniel, about your podcast. I would love to hear you do one on Devil May Cry 5.
I will. I have never played a Devil May Cry game, so I would love to do that, because I'll be a first-time player, and it would be a very recent and kind of raw opinion that I have of it. So I would definitely like to do that.
Yeah,
I would say you played Metal Gear Solid too, so you have to make an episode of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, you got to do Metal Gear.
I thought about doing Metal Gear for sure, whether it's the first one or because the first one I thought was ahead of its time.
Yeah, 100. Oh yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
Everything from how Hideo Kojima, he's just when you're fighting Psycho Mantis, right? He's reading your mind. he knows every move you're about to make. And what do you have to do? You have to take the fucking controller out of port 1 and put it in port 2. And then all of a sudden Psycho Mantis is like, he's yelling, why? You know, because he can't read your mind and know what you're about to do.
I thought he's reading the memory card in your memory card slot. Like, how insane is that?
He even tells you, you're a careful player. You save a lot. And I'm like, how the fuck did you know that?
Right.
You know?
And there's a part 2 where you have to find a code to I think it's like the radio code to talk to speak to someone, and you don't know where, and it's on the back of the box.
Which, by the way,
absolutely, yep.
I didn't buy the game. So this was we lived in the Bronx, right? And when we were kids, and I went to the store. I bought the way I got into Metal Gear Solid. Sorry, this is a tangent here, but the way I got into Metal Gear Solid was I bought a demo, right, of various games that it had, and one of them was Metal Gear Solid. So I played that. I'm like, oh, this game is great. I have to buy it. So I went to that same store. I bought it, but it didn't have the case with it. So
lame.
I just bought the disc, right? I'm like, whatever. I'm like 8 years old. Fuck it, right? So I bought the disc, and now when I got to that part, I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Again, this is 8-year-old me. Like, I'm dumb as hell. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out how to get this. I think the game eventually gives it to you. You're like, all right, this kid is never going to figure it out. Here's the code. Just talk to Meryl.
Does it? I can't remember how I mean, I had the box, but I can't remember if the game, I guess it does, right? I mean,
it must do, because I don't remember looking on the back of the box. And
yeah, it has to at some point, because
dumbass me probably didn't get it either.
Okay, and that just verified that Claire has played Metal Gear Solid. So, whew, thank God for that. I was glad. I was hoping that she had played it, but she hadn't said anything about it.
No, I
yet.
said earlier. No, I have.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, you played.
I played the first 3.
The first one and the second one. Yeah,
I think around 3, or maybe it was 4, and I just was playing it. I'm like, this is too hard for me. I can't do this, and that was where I dropped off the franchise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Great games,
it's
but
one of
just
the best.
a little too hard for me, and I wasn't dedicated enough to master what I needed to master to get through the game. So yeah,
you should play Metal Gear Solid 5.
Okay.
No, don't do that.
No, it's similar in Days Gone, where it's it's open world and it's not as
true.
Really?
I think you would really enjoy it, and it's kind of like a prequel to everything, so you don't necessarily need to know the whole story.
Okay,
yeah, actually,
I'm
the
intrigued.
story is non-existent in 5. Actually, so
I will add it to the list of games that I'm ignoring because I just play Days Gone all the time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to ask a question for you guys. So we've talked about everything as far as podcasting goes, but what is something that you would want to change in your podcast that you think may need a little bit of tweaking, or may need something that you kind of want to oversee or revisit at some point and fix, if anything comes to mind?
That's a real good question.
Yeah, I mean, I need to. This is a kind of a crappy answer, but I do need to redo my intro because it's recorded really badly. That's what I need to fix.
Okay, all right.
I think intros are tricky. I really do think they're kind of tricky to get down. I think you have to have like several iterations before you find the one that you're finally happy with. You play around and like, all right, I like this, but I can change it up. So I definitely think it's like a common thing that everyone kind of wants to change up their intro at one point. It's definitely ever changing.
Yeah. Daniel?
Yeah, what's yours?
Rob, Kelvin? Well, Daniel thinks.
Yeah, let me think there. There's so much.
Us, Kel, what do we want to change? I know.
Well, I think we're doing it right now, right? Because I think Claire said, like the intro, right? I think we don't have like a real intro to the podcast. Like,
it's kind of awkward a little bit sometimes,
right? There's times, and I think it's important to critique yourself, right? I think it's always good to just kind of reflect on what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, and it's okay to say, yeah, this sucks. Like, we need to change it up a little bit, right? The intro for us, I don't feel like it's consistent in that sense. So I feel like you said, you kind of nailed it there, where we have to kind of have more of a consistent like intro to just kind of keep it more, flowy, if that makes sense.
But that's the charm of your podcast, because so Claire has an intro that she plays on every episode. My intro is kind of the same format, but it's it's got different information pertaining to the episode, and you guys just kind of start talking. So there's that very diverse kind of, that's a charm that you guys have. You just kind of start talking. It's like somebody just walked in the room while you guys are having a conversation.
Right.
So which don't change it unless you really, really feel like you don't like it. Don't change it because you feel like you should.
I think that's really good advice.
That's
because
good. Yeah, that's true.
You think you need to change it because it has to be changed because you're like, well, we're doing it for this long. Like we can't just like have the same thing for this long.
It's getting stale or something.
Yeah, but because we're bored of it, doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who's listening is bored of it. So
Right.
Yeah,
that's good advice. Thank you.
God,
Got anything yet?
My voice is. I sometimes put on like when I try to sound more like a Bruce Wayne voice, it sounds so terrible. So I just wish I spoke better, in general.
Dude.
I'm still learning and
your voice is great.
I don't know what you're listening to because I listen to your podcast. You guys sound great. You guys are professional. You guys know what you're talking about. You don't stutter. You don't like trip over words. I'm over here just like
You're like freaking blabbering idiots,
Yeah, I was like, God damn it, what the fuck?
Yeah, so then I guess that's just me. Maybe what I need to improve or change is my perception of me. And
stop giving a fuck. Just stop giving a fuck.
Exactly. Right. My perception of me is what kind of holds me back sometimes. So I guess I need to stop doing that. I do need to add more kick drum to my fucking music because I listened to it yesterday.
Your what? I'm sorry?
My intro music.
Oh, okay.
And I listened to it yesterday. I'm like, something's missing. And then finally I played it on my big speakers that I have here just like, I know I added kick drum to this bitch, but there's no heavy kick drum. So I went back and I played through the track, the percussion track. I'm like, there is kick drum in there, but it's not a heavy one. So I definitely, that's what I critique about my intros is the music.
So did you make your own intro? Like you made that sound piece?
I did, yeah. No,
that's so cool.
Made that. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. I've done music quite a bit. I played music in high school. I self-taught piano and that kind of stuff. So, and after high school, I did, everybody does a band kind of phase, right? So I did that, but I always liked electronic music and I haven't done it in years, but doing this one was pretty easy. And it's the style of music that I like. In fact, when I first played it for my wife, this is how out of tune she is with video games. It's kind of like, what fuck video games or whatever, right? When I first played an episode for her, when I told her like I want to be on the show with Claire, and I said, well, here's how it sounds. Okay, I played an intro for her, and up until the music's over, and then I start talking, and she says, I really like the music. I'm like, anything else? Fucking anything else? Because she likes electronic music as well. But that was her first compliment.
Yeah, honey, you were okay, but the music was really the best part of it.
Right. So then she says, it sounds very good quality. I'm like, thank you. But what about the content? And that's when I was like,
the bit that I'm really interested in your opinion on.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
It's kind of hard too, because the same thing with our spouses, right? Is they're like, yeah, I was like, do you listen to Project Stick Gaming? She's like, no. And I'm like, but why don't you? It's just like, because I'm not into that stuff. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Like, but it's hard because you're like, you're supposed to be in my corner and you're supposed to back me up. I mean, they are, but it's just not their thing. Like if they had a podcast about plants or something, you'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to that,
Right.
But
yeah,
it's hard.
My wife said she offered up this information because I was very scared to ask her, hey, do you listen to it? She offered up this information and she says, I would like to listen to your podcast, but I just don't know if you want me to. Aww. And I said, yeah, interesting. Go for it. Yeah, I don't mind. It's already out there because I guess she feels like I would be embarrassed because I'm kind of insecure about it. But I think she has in private. I think she has in secret, but just doesn't.
She didn't want to admit it in case
you
said no, don't listen to it, and then she knows.
I think she was waiting for a green light.
Yeah.
Yes,
maybe.
Yeah, she was waiting for the green light. Like, yeah, go ahead.
I suppose that's the thing that people who are listening to this and are thinking about starting a podcast is you've got to also reconcile the idea of the people that you know in real life may listen to it, and how do you feel about that? But also the people in your life may not listen to it, and how do you feel about that?
And that's okay. You know, I mean, it's perfectly fine. We have friends that don't listen to our podcast, right? And that's perfectly fine. Even
none of my friends listen because none of them have played the game.
They're like, just don't get it.
But you just got to have that balance of like, it's okay. There's not everyone's going to listen to your podcast, even if they're in your corner. And you just have to accept that.
And to not take it personally.
And not take it personal. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
I always love the question of like whenever I see someone, they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" He's like, "How's the podcast?"
That dreaded question. How's the podcast?
How's going? I was like, "Oh, if you listen to it, you would know."
You wouldn't have to ask me that question. Right.
The one way they definitely haven't listened to it is when they say, "Are you still doing the podcast?"
Oh yeah, I haven't gotten that yet. I haven't gotten that yet.
Oh, you will.
I think I've gotten that. I've gotten that multiple times. You're still doing it?
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
And what's sad is they don't even have to listen to it. All they got to do is just check on the latest episode to see if you're still doing it.
Or like your social
to see
media
if it was been
or
dropped.
something.
Yeah.
Did you post
Yeah,
about
you're
it?
already an empty follower. Like, you don't do anything but just creep on my shit. You don't like it or anything, but you still see that I post shit. So obviously, I'm posting. I'm still going.
Yeah. At least they care enough to ask.
Yeah,
I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Nobody, besides my close friends and my close family members, nobody that I know of, like through my entire life, like high school, that kind of stuff on social media, nobody knows about this. So I'm completely anonymous to them because not only do I think they wouldn't be interested in, but if I develop a big following, I want it to say like I started from zero.
Organic. Yeah.
Yes.
Complete.
And I promoted it and total strangers found me. I don't want to start that, my first 100 followers or whatever are people that know me.
Right.
Yeah. If that's something that I could take back, I think that would be it. Where I think it was great for me because we had that conversation a little bit earlier where I was afraid to actually post this on my own social media because I didn't know what people would think of me. Like, oh, this guy plays video games and he's
a nerd. Yada, yada.
Oh, he's 30 years old. Like, why is he playing video games? Like, all those things come on your head, right? But at one point, I'm just like, I don't care anymore. I don't, it doesn't matter. But if that was something that I would change, though, it would be that because now we have these empty followers that, sure, they followed our social media or our YouTube channel, but they don't listen to our podcast. They don't give us anything as far as like content wise, right? They don't know what we're doing. It's just they're just an empty follower,
Except Jeff. Shout out to Jeff.
Oh yeah, shout out to Jeff.
Love you, Jesse.
Hey Jeff.
Your follower to download ratio is way off.
Yeah,
if you have 2,000 followers, but your latest episode was only downloaded 5 times in the last week and a half.
What does that say?
You know who your true friends are.
Yes.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yep.
And with the with the, what is it, Buzzsprout? You can probably figure out because it tells you the city, like who those people are that downloaded it.
So I'm going to assume that where I know you guys live, those are you guys. So thank you. You know what? My wife, I don't know if my wife has.
Oh.
No, I've seen downloads from where we live. She works in Kentucky. So we live on the border of very close to the border of Kentucky. She works in Kentucky. I haven't seen any downloads come from the state of Kentucky yet, man.
Oh, she's not listening.
Yeah. I hope she listens to this one too. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just
don't say it. Don't.
Well, so far, let me just say we're 2 hours and 19 minutes into this.
Holy shit! I didn't even see that.
If she does listen, is she going to listen this far? I'm getting you in trouble now. I shouldn't ask that.
That's an excellent question, and I don't know.
Well, we'll find out.
We will find out.
Mrs. Daniel, whatever your name is, if you are listening to this, Daniel's wife, let him know if you got this far.
Yeah. Tell him.
Give him a little wink and just say, "Yes, I listen, babe."
I won't even tell her I said this on this episode because she knows I'm recording walks through the door because she came in from work because she was listening to it, and if she says something, then I'll know because she's got to wait till almost like the very end of the episode too.
Yeah. My wife will absolutely not be watching this. I can guarantee
no,
that.
Hell no. Absolutely not. Yeah, no. I would bet a lot of money. I would bet so much money.
She did say, I did tell her about this, right? And she's like, oh, that'd be interesting to watch or listen to. I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, I got something out of you. All right.
Okay.
So,
we'll
see.
All right, Luris, we'll see.
We'll find out.
I have a question for you, Daniel and Claire. What you use Buzzsprout to host your podcast?
I use Podbean. Okay. Which is a similar kind of thing. It's basically a subscription or whatever. Like you pay a monthly or a yearly fee, you upload your episodes to their platform, and it distributes it to all of the other podcast platforms like Amazon, Google, iTunes, blah, blah, all the other ones.
And you can see downloads on that as well?
Yeah. Podbean gives you statistics, but it's not great. It certainly doesn't tell me the city. It breaks down to states, and on like the world map it tells me all the countries, but a lot of them just fall under other. So like I can only see some of the states are sort of recognized, but I'm guessing some of the platforms like Spotify maybe doesn't feed the information back. So I may have like on an episode like 50 downloads on Spotify, but I don't know where they are. So it just comes under like 50 downloads are from other.
Now, are they grouping the downloads with the streams themselves, or when you guys say downloads, do you mean just what people are streaming? Because Anchor just tells you the amount of people that are streaming your stuff, not necessarily downloaded your podcast.
Right. Podbean is more download based because I also upload to YouTube, but I do that manually. It does do it automatically, and this week, weirdly, it did it automatically for me, but I tend to just do it manually. It's kind of a bit glitchy. And that I don't think it counts those. But I don't really know. I don't really rely on it. Honestly, I don't have enough downloads and enough data to really do anything with it.
Right.
So
see, but this is interesting stuff for us because we use Anchor, right? And it tells us total plays. So I'm like, does that mean downloads? Like, do we not have anybody downloading our stuff, just playing it? And for how long? Like, do they watch the whole episode? Does it count as like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get that information.
What is considered a play? Is it 2 minutes? Is it 3 minutes? You know what I mean? So
that's what I think for Podbean, downloads is just if it downloads onto someone's phone or like they have it saved, like subscribed to on their podcast
app. If that file has been requested somehow.
Like that counts.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't download anybody. Like I follow you guys, right? But I don't download a specific episode.
Right.
You know, I just play it and that's it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same.
That counts as a download.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
because for example, with Apple Podcasts, you can actually say like when you listen to an episode, you can say remove download. So it actually downloads the episode to the phone. So Buzzsprout, I'll go into it here. So what I see is last 7, 30, 90, and all time downloads. It'll tell me what my top episodes are, and Quantum Break is nearing the top with Dying Light. Okay, cool.
There you go.
So it tells me what apps were used. Mm-hmm. So top apps so far is Apple Podcasts, just a web browser, Spotify, unknown Apple apps, Stitcher, and then it tells me now if I go into a specific episode. So let's say Dying Light here.
And Daniel, you actually have a subscription for this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's actually it actually tells you what device is downloaded, whether it's an Apple phone, Android phone, Windows computer, Apple computer.
Damn.
You too, Claire, right? Yours is subscription based.
Yes, it's subscription based. I don't think mine gives me that much information. It's not that level of detail on who's downloaded it. Not that I mean, what would I do with that information?
Right. Yeah.
I found out someone's using Android or an Apple phone or something. It's like, okay.
Okay, cool. Great.
I see countries and I actually see cities as well.
Okay.
So
good to know.
It is pretty granular. So from what I'm getting, I guess it might be a little more granular than the ones you guys are using. It's the only reason I started using is because that Pat Flynn that I watched, he gave you like a whole step-by-step on how to do it and how to, put the tags and all this shit. And it's incredibly easy to distribute it to other podcast platforms, directories. Aside from Pandora, I can't get Pandora to add me at all because you have to do a request with them.
Oh god, I haven't even tried Pandora. Does anyone still use Pandora?
Yeah,
come on,
who uses Pandora to listen to pod? I don't think that's I don't really people.
Let's just ignore Pandora.
Yeah,
it's the only one I can't get my podcast on because you're supposed to do a submittal and they're supposed to approve it, and they never have. And I actually wrote them, and they said, "Oh, it could take 4 to 6 weeks." They didn't tell me it was denied. But it's been more than 4 to 6 weeks, so I'm like, whatever.
All right, I don't need you.
I feel like we should probably wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
2.5 hours.
Yeah. Do we have any last things we want to bring up? How should
our
final
something.
question be?
I think we only have one final question. What is the funniest and most embarrassing or cringe-worthy moment you had while podcasting, if you have one?
I have one.
Oh, all right,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Let it go. Let it go.
Daniel, I think I told you the story before we recorded the episode we did together. So my first ever big get for the podcast.
You were on a hot mic. That's what it was.
Yeah.
You were on a hot mic and you didn't know it.
Yes. I interviewed Jason Spizak, who plays the villain in Days Gone. And like I said, he is, for a number of reasons, my favorite character in the game. And I was so excited to get the actor behind the character to come on the podcast as my first big interview. And I knew a lot of people would want to listen to it because the character is so hated. So there's a lot of pressure on me, and I was kind of fangirling pretty hard. I will admit it. I was fangirling so hard, and I was in kind of an awkward place where I was recording. I wasn't at home. I was actually on a road trip, and so we just pulled up at this place where we were staying, and I had like 20 minutes to get all my shit set up. And I still hadn't like finished figuring out all my questions. So I'm kind of like doing all that and I get everything set up and I use Zencaster, which is the service we're using tonight, which is like a way of connecting over the internet and it records the audio on both ends. So I get that all set up, get my mic plugged in, make sure everything's working. It's my first time using Zencaster. So I'm like, okay, good. I've got 5 minutes. I got 5 minutes and then he's going to jump on. So it's like 5 to whatever time it was, 5 to 5 or something. In the next room was my husband and our 2-year-old kiddo finishing dinner. And I go in there and I'm like, like, Luke, you've got to wrap, you got to, finish dinner, get out, you got to leave, get the fuck out. Because there's things like, please, I'm going to do this interview and it's like really important. And I'm really nervous and blah, blah, blah. And bear in mind, my laptop with everything set up is like literally just through the door. So I go back into the other room and I look at my laptop. And there's Jason Spizak already on the call. And there's my microphone not muted. And I'm just like,
God.
oh my God.
Oh no.
And I pick up the mic and I'm just like, hi, Jason. And he's like, hey, and he laughs. And I'm like, oh, God, did you hear that? And he's like, yep, I heard every word. I was like, oh,
that's
fuck.
fantastic.
That's fine. But that like is a good icebreaker, right?
Yeah. I was mortified. And then I just spent like the next 25 minutes thinking, you're such a fucking idiot. You're such a fucking idiot.
That's great.
Oh, how about someone please take the embarrassment, the heat off of me? Someone share something cringe.
Rob, I don't know if we've had any cringe-worthy moments. I feel like
I've had something. I've done some weird stuff while we're recording. You know how like you do the hands thing, you can't really see your hands, right?
Right.
One episode we were. Yeah, right. Kelvin's like breaking down. He's like doing the editing on the video part, and he's like,
"Oh no!"
He's like, "What's in your hand?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I guess at one point I was like anxious or like whatever, and I'm literally like playing with a battery.
Oh, that's right.
I'm like using this as like a fidget toy, and I'm like on the YouTube video playing, like flipping around a battery because I'm just like I'm anxious.
Oh God, I thought you were going to say you were doing it just below frame, and it looked like you were doing
some weird shit there. No,
I was going to say this starts starting like a dirty joke.
It's going dark. Yeah.
No. Oh, thank God. Oh my, I'd be so mortified.
I would not edit that out, by the way. So.
No, you keep that. Like, what is Rob doing? But as far as cringe moments, we don't really have cringe moments.
Has your dog ever like pissed in front of you while you were recording or anything? Like took a shit or anything?
Oh, that's what happened. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I was recording. I used to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and there were no doors in the apartment except for the bedroom. And where my setup was, it was like kind of like in this hallway. And I have 2 dogs, right? So you can imagine when I'm trying to record and getting the dogs to like stay quiet for like an hour is just like hell on earth, right? So I'm recording. I have my dog next to me. She's just like hanging around, and I just hear it puke right on the floor recording. And you hear it on the clip, like just like that. And I just come to see you. Like,
that's awesome.
And I'm like, hey man, I gotta stop. I gotta pause real quick because my dog just puked on the floor, and then we just resumed it right there.
I can't concentrate on tech or gaming at this point.
No.
Project Puke.
Meanwhile, I'm like, Rob, what the fuck is going on? Like, pull your shit together. What are you doing? And meanwhile, his dog is just fucking showing up and shit. Oh, damn, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Daniel,
all right, Daniel,
what about you?
Or Kelvin.
I have nothing. I can't think of anything that's happened while I was recording with you.
There's got to be something. There's something that happened where we'll bring it up.
Besides my kid yelling at the top of his lungs, but that's normal. That's nothing.
That
nothing
happens.
Crazy.
No,
you can hear my kid in the background of this episode, I'm sure.
the 35-minute deal that you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, that's pretty good though.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Where you just like completely were muted. You like didn't record
Yeah,
yourself.
I guess.
That's
good.
Good.
It's not cringy though. It's just like stupid on my end. I don't know. Although it's not my fault, I will say, because I did test out Audacity before we started, and it was working perfectly fine. It was just up until we actually started recording that for some reason I did not see any of my audio moving as I was talking. So there's that.
Man. And you just made me super okay. All right. Whew, mine's still recording. Whew. All right. Yeah, you made me nervous on that one.
I've been checking mine periodically.
So real quick though, for some reason on the Zencast, I don't see my audio waves moving at all. Is that a bad thing?
Oh, I see yours. No, you're good.
You do? Okay.
I see yours. To say, I was like, no, not a second time in a row.
Well, do you see yours like under your name?
No, actually, sometimes I do. Yeah, mine come in. Yours is coming through really loud. Mine comes in kind of quiet. But no, sometimes I don't see it. And I'm like, oh shit, is it not?
Okay. I've been seeing everybody.
Yeah,
everybody
I see everyone's.
Yeah,
we're all good.
I don't see myself, but okay, as long as you say it's good.
We see it. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
My cringeworthy was actually when I recorded with Claire, because we use Zencaster, and at the very end it gives you the option to download. I'm like, cool. I download. I can have a copy of the chat and see how it went. Kind of prepare myself for how I sound, right? But it only gave me.
Yeah.
And no Claire. So I'm listening to what only I sound like, which is kind of out of context, because it's better. Your ums and your knows and whatevers don't sound as bad when somebody else is filling in those dead spaces.
Yep.
But I fucking listened to our hour-long conversation.
To the whole thing.
I listened to it 3 times.
What is wrong with you, you masochist?
To get myself
ready
for how terrible I was going to sound. Because I emailed Claire. I said, I am so worried about because I didn't tell her that I listened to it, to my track. And I said, I almost wanted to ask you for a do-over because that's how horrible I thought I sounded.
No, I emailed you and said it sounded great. This is one of my favorite episodes I've ever done. And you were just like, what are you talking about? It sounds terrible.
You have to tell everybody that because there's no way you mean it for me. There's no way.
I listened to that episode and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So,
when the episode came out, it was great. But just when you want to listen to something totally fucked up, man, listen to just you without Rob or without Kelvin or Claire, without your guest. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I have to do that sometimes as I'm editing the tracks like separately. I have to mute the other person. And yeah, you sound like a fucking weirdo. Like when it's just you talking and just suddenly you'll just be like, yeah, actually, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my God, just shut the fuck up. You sound terrible.
Yeah. I have a problem with like how deep bass my voice is sometimes. So when I listen to myself, I'm like, oh my God, like why do I sound so dark? Like, oh, it sounds terrible.
No, lean into that.
It sounds great. It's a very
good tone.
Well, I've again, that's one of those things that you kind of go over and you kind of pass those hurdles. Like I feel like I sound a little bit better now. You kind of grow as you get better with this, but you learn to appreciate your voice a little bit more sometimes. You know?
Or you just learn to tolerate it. I don't know which one that is for me yet. So I don't know if I've gotten better or if I've just tolerated my own voice more.
That's true. That's very
true.
Probably both. Probably both, to be honest.
Yeah. But my God, man, 2 hours and 35 minutes. That was the easiest 2 hours and 35 minutes I've ever had. If only like job interviews can go.
Right. Nobody is going to listen to all this, are they?
I mean,
probably not. I will.
Yeah, I will too. But you know what I might end up doing? I might take like as much as it's gonna suck till I edit and everything like that. I might just like skip past some parts and then compile it into like maybe like 40 minutes, an hour of like important stuff that we said, and then like make it just a little more like user friendly for like if someone doesn't want to hear it, take out some of the fluff. So that might be something that I could probably do if you guys want me to send you that.
Well, yeah, we can.
It's up to
we
you
can
guys.
Figure that out. I guess let's wrap up what we're saying. Let's finish the episode, and then we can figure out how we're going to release it.
I think a good idea is like, hey, it goes back to Joe Rogan. You can either watch the entire episode or just separate out those clips into the certain topics that we go over, in case nobody has 2 hours and 36 minutes and 14 seconds to listen to it.
If we do end up releasing the full 2 hours 36 minutes, and whoever is listening to my voice right now gets to this point, thank you for listening to 2 hours and 36 minutes of our voices.
Thank you.
We appreciate all of us. We appreciate all of our listeners, all of our viewers. You guys are fucking awesome. And
absolutely.
Thank
you guys so much.
The reason why we do this is to interact with other people and to just like communicate our thoughts and hope that we reach people who appreciate that. So
this is the most unscripted, completely part of the whole thing, because this is the part we never talked about, how we're going to close it out. So
right, I guess she nailed it.
And she nailed it. That was awesome.
That
was awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the part where we're just like, hey, I'm Daniel with Video Games and Coffee.
I'm Claire with the. Oh, we messed it up. We got
keep it in. No,
don't. Start over. Close everything. Let's start over.
All right. Shut it down. Okay,
right,
start from minute number 1 again. I am Claire with the Days Gone podcast.
I'm Daniel.
God damn it, Daniel.
All right, I'll tell you what. We're gonna ladies first.
Okay.
I'll let you guys can close it out, and then I'll do my thing.
Do we need to see it? We've already said Daniel and me. I think we're good.
All right.
You guys just go.
Now it's your turn, Kelvin. Go.
Okay, thank you, finally. And I'm Kelvin from Project Tech Gaming.
And I'm Rob from Project Tech Gaming. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. And seriously, check out Daniel and Claire. They're fantastic. I'm so glad we got to meet them and do this.
Absolutely.
Seriously, they have great stuff. I'm not just saying that because we're featured, but really, I'm not a fan of Days Gone yet. Yes. But I find Claire's podcast fantastic and really gets me into the world. And same thing with Daniel's. Daniel's, again, if you never played a game before and you kind of want an overview of that game, check out his podcast. He'll get you wanting to play that game and does it in a very way it makes you appreciate the game. So
or even if you haven't, or even if you have played the game, like it's just a different insight, a different perspective, So
yeah. And you can check us out too if you want. Project Tech Gaming, latest gaming news.
We're here too.
Yeah.
Hey, and thank you, obviously, to our listeners, but also thank you to you three. I love talking to you, and this was, like I said, the easiest 2.5 hours I've had talking to a group of people. So thanks again.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, and there you have it. Very sad for that to come to an end. I loved listening to it all the way through. I'm just in a habit. Anything I record, I have to listen back through it to make sure I don't sound like an absolute dingus. And and I think this discussion was a lot of fun, and I hope everybody had a good time listening in with us. Claire Weaver is with the Days Gone podcast. She's also on YouTube as well. You can find her on Instagram at Days Gone Pod. Rob and Kelvin, they're with Project Tech Gaming, also on YouTube and Instagram at Project Tech Gaming. Thank you very much to Rob, Kelvin, and Claire. You were all just the nicest, most polite and supportive people I've met so far. As when I started my podcasting, and I thank you very much for wanting to talk to me, as well as wanting to get together with the four of us to have this discussion. And of course, thank you very much to my listeners. Thank you for tuning in whenever I upload a new episode. I keep writing, I keep recording, because you keep listening, and it's very much appreciated. Stay safe, have fun, be good to each other, and I'll talk to you next time.